Thank you, Mr. Langford. At this time, I'd like to yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding today's markup of the proposed budget resolution for fiscal 2012. This is a pivotal time for everyone in this room because it allows us the opportunity to reshape the direction our country will take from this point forward. I want to thank Chairman Ryan, my fellow colleagues on the House Budget Committee, and the Budget Committee staff for working tirelessly to produce a plan of which we can all be proud. It is not only innovative and thoughtful, it is bold, and it is honest with the American people about the tough decisions that lie ahead. Coming from the private sector as the CEO for a mid-sized business to Congress has confirmed my previous analysis that Washington doesn't understand how the real world works. Furthermore, when I was running for this office, I knew that the country's fiscal situation was precarious. However, after being sworn into this office on January the 5th, I was disappointed to learn that the country's fiscal situation is much worse than I previously thought. Our country has gotten to this point through reckless and unrestrained spending, blatant disregard for actual real-world budgeting, and the short-sighted and unrealistic acceptance of terms called primary balance and sustainable deficits, and that those terms are called the norm. I'm a CPA, but it doesn't take a CPA because most Americans know that these are not the guidelines under which we can operate. Our new budget comes at just the right time because we can no longer afford to accept what unfortunately has rapidly become the status quo. We can change the country's headlong rush toward insolvency and the bankrupting of the futures of our children and grandchildren. Through real spending cuts, unprecedented reform of entitlements, and to our tax code, this budget resolution allows us to stay true to the pledge to the American people to remove a debt-driven economic crisis, to earn back the trust of the American people, and restore certainty for the private sector and spur job creation. A few weeks ago, the President issued this budget. And this budget, I think, should be returned to center in sufficient funds. We've heard talk today from the other side about how bad this budget is that we're proposing to introduce on our side. But that's a very disingenuous comment because the other side issued no budget last year. They must have opened it up and seen the graphs that you saw today and said, that's too ugly to show the American people. We're not going to be honest with the American people. We're going to hide the truth from the American people and not show them. So again, return to center. On the other hand, I think this budget should have been entitled Restoring America's Promise and Prosperity and Security for Future Generations, because that's what it does. That's why I was elected to this office, and that's what we owe the American people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.